neighbor is like, no, like I can smell your barbecue smoke. Like you're right there.
Hello and welcome back to the Croak and Crow podcast. Guess what, guys? I'm back.
Spencer!
I'm back.
We missed you.
I left for a little bit, took a little hiatus to Florida, but I'm here. And I'm here to stay. What is this?
It's confetti. It's not. It's a lei.
I'm here to stay this time, guys. I went to Florida.
You went to Florida, as you can see.
White sandy shores, 80-degree days.
Sunshine.
Tacos.
Lucky.
And a lot of coronavirus, but I didn't get it.
Yeah, he didn't get it.
I did not get it.
Got my hand sanitizer just in case. And
wore my mask. I social distanced.
And he had a test when he came home.
And I got a test. So I'm all good. I'm good to podcast again. And also, as you guys can see, as I saw when I got back, Christmas came early to the Croak and Crow show. I walk into the studio. I see a Christmas tree.
That's right.
I see 2 new microphones.
Oh, Christmas came early for sure.
As much as we loved sharing a microphone, we
know.
thought it wasn't really COVID friendly.
No,
it was what it was. We were just breathing particles.
Yeah, you're gonna
both on the mic.
You're gonna see. We're gonna get better and better.
There's no stopping us.
No, we'll have 2 trees, 3 trees.
Yeah,
you know.
It'll just be a show of trees at one point.
No, we'll be in the forest.
Oh, forest cast.
Because we're in Pennsylvania and
we have a van. I'm back.
Pennsylvania means Penn's Woods.
I'm back to working on the van. So that's exciting.
Van as well.
I mean, I haven't started working on it, but I'm going to.
It's nothing to stop us.
The possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
I'm back in Pennsylvania. When I'm in Pennsylvania, everybody watch out.
Yeah, it's open spaces.
Watch out.
Yeah.
How have you been? Did I miss anything?
You missed Thanksgiving on our side, and you missed some early sunsets because the sun sets later in Florida than it does in Pennsylvania. So you had...
I never understood that. It happened. I was down there. I was like, whoa, it's still not dark yet. Yeah. But I always understood time zones. That made sense to me.
Yeah.
The sun. But how does it get, I guess maybe the equator?
Yeah, it's something...
I don't know. I did wake up real early when I was in Florida for a couple of the days, and I'd go to the beach to watch the sunrise. Always a spectacle. I recommend.
Oh yeah, it was on our Instagram. One of his one of your sunrise pictures I put on the Instagram. Yeah.
You know what? I feel like a lot of people over here on the East Coast, they take advantage. They take not advantage. They opposite of advantage. They take for granted the sunrise.
Oh yeah, for granted the sunrise.
Because we're all right next to. We're an hour away from.
Oh yeah.
The beaches in Florida. I was a walk, but so many people aren't morning people.
Right.
That wake up at how early?
Yeah.
5:45. But let me tell you, you want a spiritual experience? You go and have a little personal time watching this. That's what I did one morning.
Yeah.
No one else in the house woke up. I went on a run. There's like a fort at the edge of St. Augustine, Florida that I was in. And I just stopped at the fort. It's right on the water line. And I just sat there watching the sunrise. I was at peace.
Were there people there on the beach that you didn't know?
Yeah, a few.
Yeah.
But not many at all compared to like other things. So
yeah.
I recommend the sunrise to anyone who likes the sun. That was one of our podcasts, was sunlight.
Yeah, that's right. Sunshine.
Sunlight so bright.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've chit-chatted. We've talked about ourselves, but guess what? These people that are listening, they don't want to hear about us.
No.
You know what they want to hear about? Do you know what they're dying to hear? What they have not slept for weeks to hear about? I'll tell you what.
The theme?
It's today's topic.
The topic?
It's today's topic. That's what they want to know. So you have been in charge. You've been at the helm.
Yeah.
You've been editing. You've been preparing for the future of Croak and Crow. So I'm excited to hear for the 25th. 25th. I was 25th. A little bummed to see that there's no canvas. Thought it was an every 5s thing.
I know. I don't know. I'll have to figure out the microphone with the canvas.
That's a movable microphone.
Okay, so
put it anywhere you want.
We can
we can figure that.
We can surprise you with that because it'll be our little advent calendar of surprises every day.
It's December. Oh my, there's so many announcements.
I know. This time of year, you just get a lot of party time.
It's 25 days of Christmas.
Yes. This is the first day.
What are we doing?
Well, this is when you sing a song.
Happy holiday.
Yeah, do it.
Are we having a Croak and Crow 25 days of Christmas?
Yes.
What have you planned? Well, it's gone. Please, I'm all ears.
Like I said, it's an advent calendar, which do people know? Okay, we described what a Bible was, but we are assuming people know what an advent calendar is. But I have seen it in just mainstream society, in catalogs and stuff. And it's just a little calendar with little lift up flaps, and every day. I don't even think, did we get surprises? I think we just got little words. But, so the prizes are really small. They're not like
a dreidel?
Well, yeah, sure. In a mixed marriage, I guess. You'd have that. But today was the little Christmas song that you sang.
You're welcome. That's a sample.
That shows you how little the prize
Yeah. For the 25 days of Christmas, I'll just keep singing a different part of the song. At the end, you put it together and you can throw it on iTunes or something. Make $1 million.
And also, you wouldn't be hit with any kind of trademark infringement.
No. Yeah, because I'm just using bits at a time.
Yeah. I like that.
You're welcome, guys.
The theme for today
What is the theme for today?
Is another treat. It's
chocolate.
No. You don't even like chocolate.
I don't. A lot of people
But you're right. A lot of advent calendars, every single day, the treat is chocolate.
Just a little Hershey Kiss.
Yeah. Hershey, Pennsylvania, which is I'm like the tour guide of
So you shouldn't be on a bus.
Not the tour guide, but like the
we'll just turn the van into a Pennsylvania tour bus.
On the Pennsylvania market.
It'll be the longest ride.
I know.
First stop Hershey, next stop Pittsburgh.
It's no, we have a lot to offer in this state.
In the state, in the city,
in the state.
The rest of the state.
Oh no, he's so wrong. All my neighbors in Pennsylvania know that we have so much to offer, border to border to border.
To border.
Border to border. Yeah, you're right.
No,
we don't have we have to.
Atlantic and Pacific aren't a border. They're an ocean.
Pennsylvania is not bordering the Pacific.
Sorry, I consider just my home to be the whole country.
I see that.
I'm very inclusive.
No, we have Ohio, New Jersey. I don't know.
Wait, no, we're touching a lot.
Are we? New York.
Yeah, New York. And then on the bottom, we touch
Delaware,
also Maryland.
Maryland. You're right. Delaware, Maryland there.
I don't know. Okay, we drug on for about...
Neighbors.
Neighbors.
We didn't...
Did you say that?
Yeah.
Oh.
I said neighbors. Neighbors.
Hey,
neighbor.
Howdy there, neighbor.
We're table neighbors.
We're talking about neighbors. That's a good topic.
Yeah.
Now, what do you consider a neighbor?
Okay. I consider a neighbor people who live on my street. And, well, actually, yeah, people who live on my street, but I also have people who I share a
plot.
Our yards back up to each other. I would also call
the borders.
I would call Dana my neighbor, and she's on the street behind me.
Okay.
And I have the lovely Miller family on one side, and I have great people Greenbergs on all their names
great people
on the other side, and I have the Zindells in front of me.
Couldn't think of a Z word, could you?
The zany. They're not that zany, so I'm not going to name all the people on the street, but they're my neighbors. I would say my neighbors. If someone lived in my little block or my my block, but not my township, not my city, not my township. I would call them, they live in my area, but I wouldn't call them neighbors.
Okay. See, for me, I'm a Christian. I consider everyone on earth as my neighbor.
Oh, yeah. I thought you just meant.
So.
But aren't you misleading people? So, if you had a friend in Florida, would you introduce him as your neighbor? And then people would say, where does he live? And you'd say, oh, he lives in Palm Beach.
Heart.
In your heart. No, right? I understand what you're saying, that spiritually...
I'm being facetious.
Okay.
But here's the thing, though. It's an important thing to understand when you're looking at the Bible. When it's love the neighbor. It's not talking like it's bigger than that. It's your spiritual neighbors.
That's right.
Right? Like we're sharing this earth. We all share this street. We share like land, maybe a fence.
Yeah.
But humans, we all share this earth, this experience, and those are your neighbors.
Yeah.
And guess what? You know what's the most important thing to have? A good relationship with your neighbors.
Yeah.
I think the same way I think parents are good as a representation of what a father's love, a mother's love is to God. I think on a small scale, neighbors, physical, door-to-door neighbors, it's very important to learn that same concept on a grander scale, which is everyone.
Right.
Like if you're bickering and fighting with all your neighbors around you,
right? How
How do you expect to love the neighbor who lives in a different country than you, who has very different beliefs than you?
Well, we're lucky because, I mean, of course, as a Christian, you see the good in everybody, and you love everybody, which is what you're saying. But we are actually lucky because our neighbors are so nice. They're so helpful. There's a neighbor, I think just 2 houses down, who he snow blows. You go out and the path is blown, or just friendly neighbors, helpful neighbors. And then like the longer you've lived somewhere, you go through things together, like power outage or, but it's nice. Sometimes I think I would like to live in a place with no neighbors, and it's just this secluded place, but it's so nice to see like, the whites who live behind me, I see the family taking a walk all the time, and you just have a little chat with them. And especially during the first part of this quarantine, which was petrifying, scary. They said, stay in your house, don't go anywhere. Like I literally put up Christmas lights so that, like, to cheer up the rest of
a beacon of hope.
Yeah. I was mentioning Scott and Dana White. They would play music in the, it's just so we could all hear it. And we were all locked down, and we all did abide by the rules of not going anywhere. But like we had each other, and there's also different stages, the people on this side of us have older children like what I have, but the people on this side have little kids, but they've connected with the other neighbors who have little kids. So we do have a great couple block, even down the street, great people here. And I'm thankful to God for that. But you're saying love all your neighbors. What happens if you have somebody who you see it on YouTube or whatever, people can get terrorized by a neighbor.
Yeah. And it's tough. And guess what? There's going to be some people that really get under your skin in life. Some people that really get you angry, and you're not looking for the problem. They're looking for the problem. But as a good Christian, it is up to you to take the high road, to be the better man. Because nothing gets done with fighting fire with fire. Let me repeat that for the audience. Nothing gets done when you fight fire with fire. If you have
just a bigger fire.
If you have a neighbor who just is looking for trouble, meet them with peace. Meet them with kindness.
Yeah.
Kill them with kindness.
You're right, because
or slash their tires.
No. Because the other way doesn't work. If the Hatfields and the McCoys, do you know that story?
No.
The Hatfields and McCoys, famous story of old time, like we're talking, with the rifles and the land and two warring factions, and I think it went on forever and ever. So it doesn't work. And again, if you look on the internet, you'll see people who do that. They put up hidden cameras. He slashed his tire, and then he stole his mail, and he kidnapped his dog. And it's not like it was resolved.
Yeah.
It's not like, that actually worked. It never works.
Never works.
When I see those things, I'm like this. You just have to move. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
But you know what? When you're talking, I just have to say this really quickly. You just said, think of everybody as your neighbor. And I'm like, yeah, I love my neighbors. And I'm naming, the Millers and everybody. Like I said, thinking of people's names and then thinking, oh, don't leave that person out. Never once did I think that my sister is my neighbor.
She is.
My sister, his aunt and uncle, all her, children, is my neighbor. But isn't that funny? I don't think of her as my neighbor. I think of her as my sister.
Uh-oh. What does that mean?
I
Doesn't sound like you really appreciate your neighbors all that much.
I'm sorry. I do, but isn't that funny? I put her in a different category. Oh, and is the category like, I never said I was perfect. That's why I love to talk about it, because I figure things are revealed to me on this podcast, to me, that I'm like, oh, so what do you think about that? Is it wrong of me that I didn't think of her? That's my neighbor, but I always think of her. I can literally see her house from my house, and we're back and forth with a cup of sugar. Like, why did I not think she was my neighbor when I was picturing neighbors?
I think it just slipped your mind.
Okay.
I immediately thought it.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Okay, good. Good. Okay.
Sounds like a you problem.
Sounds like, then that's totally believable. All right. So, neighbor, makes me just think, in the Bible, in the gospel, Jesus said, love thy neighbor. And then the apostle, someone said, well, who's your neighbor?
Yeah.
Who's your neighbor? I don't live anywhere. I live on a cliff.
I live on a boat.
And he said, I believe he answered him with the story of the Good Samaritan. I'm pretty sure. Come on. It's true.
Flip a coin.
It's true.
It might be right. It might not be.
Jesus said, oh, who's your neighbor? Let me tell you a story. So he told the story of the Good Samaritan. And then he said to the apostle, so who's your neighbor? And the apostle said, oh, everyone? Like,
It's everyone. Treat everyone like your neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
We're all on the same street of life. We all have
we
the
really
same
are.
Garbage men.
When you pull out of your perspective of the earth, when you're real close, you're like, oh, like Southeast Pennsylvania is not Pittsburgh. But when you pull out, you can compare India to
Southeast Pennsylvania is not Pittsburgh.
Is like,
okay,
you make these distinctions.
Yeah.
Like, we're totally different. Oh, okay. Steelers, we're Eagles. Like, but when you pull out and you look at, like, I follow actually an astronaut who, Kelly, he posts old photos of when he was up there. And it's like, it's funny that we make these little distinctions. Like, we are all neighbors on earth.
We are all neighbors on earth. Yeah, and it's an important distinction to know, because you do get in these head spaces of, oh, what is your neighbor? And then, like, even going to Florida, if I'm around here and I tell, oh, what street do you live on? Then they'd say, oh, okay. But the further you get, it's like, oh, where are you from? From Pennsylvania. And then suddenly that becomes a group.
Yeah,
and
you're
then
right.
when you're out of the country, United States becomes a group. If there was alien planets, you went to planet, it's like, what planet are you from? It would be, you wouldn't say, oh, I'm from this Maple Street. I'm from Maple Street, Ontario. And they'd say, we don't understand. Where are you actually from? And it's like, okay, I'm from Earth. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. No, when I was in Trinidad, when I was in America, I was always in America, right? I was always in America, and people would say, what are you? And I would say Irish, because my mom was born in Ireland.
Irish. My mom was born in Ireland.
That was your little first day of Christmas treat. Little pun. My mom was born in Ireland. My dad's grandparents were born in Ireland, and then everything is Irish. So I'm Irish. People ask me, I'm Irish. I went to Trinidad, which is a country in the Caribbean, and people would say hello, and they knew I wasn't Trinidadian from my accent, and they would say, what are you? And I would say, I'm Irish. And the people would say, what part of Ireland are you from? Currently, not like, where are your ancestors from? And then I was like, oh, I'm American, which of course you would never say in America, because it wouldn't make sense. People,
American.
So where like you said, if you are here, you're going to be really specific about where you live. If you're in Florida, it just becomes Pennsylvania. If you go on the West Coast, you would say I'm from the East Coast. Yeah. But all of these things, I don't know. Did they separate us or bring us together? They bring us together when you find somebody else. Like, if you were in Florida and you found someone from Philadelphia, you'd be like, neighbor.
neighbor. We know each other.
So is it separating or
Imagine
is it
if I did that around here.
every single person?
Where are you from? Yes. So am I. I'm from there.
Just at the supermarket. Yeah. So do you think it's dividing or do you think it's
It's fine.
Okay.
Okay, it's fine.
Okay.
No, it's fine on a small scale, but I think it's what's important is to remember. Like I like to bring a lot of things to sports teams because I feel like that's where it's an easy concept to understand division. And sports teams, right? Like, I love football and you love football. I love the Eagles, you love the Cowboys. I hate you and you hate me.
It sounds like you're saying I love the Cowboys, and that's probably...
You also don't love football, so the whole thing's made up.
I'm just clarifying.
And so...
Just a footnote. If you like the Cowboys in Philadelphia, you get a lot of...
You get
You get a lot of hate. Okay, so go ahead with your story.
So, like, that's the thing. Me with my Eagles fans, is that a great thing? Of the, oh, look at that camaraderie, we're all rooting for the same thing, yada yada, blah 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 blah. But I think the problem is, when there is such, like, you just get into actual physical fights, at a tailgate with a Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
When you both are lovers of football, and
I know.
Obviously that's fine. It's sports. It's
a whole. We should have a sports podcast.
Yeah, it's
not a sports podcast, but
it's trivial to say.
Yeah.
You guys should stop fighting, but I think it's an important distinction when looking at other things.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things that humans are sort of made to group together.
Mm-hmm.
Like we find.
Yeah.
We find sports teams. You
attraction of homogenous species.
Yeah. Hobbies. Yada yada. And so it's the same thing with like parts. Like you said, if you go to Florida and you see someone from Philly,
yeah,
it's like it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
But the problem comes when you get to that second part. Like it's important to remember, just like these sports guys, hey, you all love football.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be hating each other.
No. And
the same thing is, yes, I'm going to enjoy this. We know where each other are from. I know what school you went to.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. It's important to remember we're all on this earth together.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I think that's the important two-way thing about it. Is like, obviously, when you say, hey, who's your neighbor? We know you're pointing there, and there. But it's always just in the back of your head to say, treat it like we're all neighbors.
Yes.
Me, you.
Yeah.
Joey down the street.
I remember when I was little because you said I don't like football. It's like I don't like it. I'm just not very into sports, but my family was. So we would watch the Phillies and the Eagles and not so much the Sixers. Yeah, we did. The Sixers won a championship, I remember. But anyway, I remember thinking that the Eagles players were from Philadelphia.
I think I thought that once upon a time.
I thought the team from Philadelphia was from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Once I found out that the team's not from Philadelphia, for the most part, you might get somebody.
Yeah.
Also, that they move. So, like, your favorite player might be on the Cowboys next season. I was kind of like, oh. Yeah. It was just weird to me because it's like you're cheering so hard for a team that keeps changing. It's like... Menudo, do you remember? You would never know Menudo. Menudo was a boy band long time ago, and it was they were Spanish, but it was, think of One Direction where they keep replacing the person every time. So when they would get a little too old, because it was definitely like a boy band, and there was a bunch of them. You have to know Ricky Martin.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, he's from that, but. Yeah, when they would get a little bit old, they would replace the kid. And so Menudo stayed Menudo, even though the singers were changing. So the same thing like with the Eagles, you're liking the team that keeps changing.
I know, and that's one of I love sports. I get into it, but
yeah, you do.
But never as much as like a lot of my friends who get like that. And that's always like the thing for me is like I like the fun of it. I like the fun of it's like watching on a horse racing and saying, oh, I want that horse to win. It's exciting to have some skin in the game if that's just a choice you made. Like, I choose this team to be the team, and then you can follow it.
Definitely. You could live in Philadelphia and love the Miami Dolphins. For sure, people do that.
It's fun, but that's like why I never got to that. Like, is what are you guys fighting over? Like, you have nothing to do with this team. You don't know anyone. None of them care about you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we love our fans. Okay. Like, they're doing their job. Like, and you get so invested that you're going to physically fight someone.
I know.
Over literally nothing. Like,
Yeah.
I have more respect for people who fight over, what's the silly thing to fight over?
The last piece of pizza.
Yeah, literally. Okay. If you get into a fisticuffs with some guy because he took the last piece, you're fighting for something.
You were hungry.
You're angry
Yeah.
You were hungry. You were hungry.
You're hungry.
You were hungry. You took that food out of your mouth. But to literally be fighting over grown men who are getting paid to play, it's not.
Yeah.
We love this city and we'll fight and win for the. No, they'll whatever team calls their number and says, hey, we're gonna pay you down Miami.
Yeah, of course.
Deuces. So it's I'm not I love sports. Let me reiterate, but I always think like, don't get so invested. Like it's
no, because also like you said that the players don't care about the fans, and that's true for a lot of them. But for some, the players do care about the fans.
I think Embiid.
We got to say him, Nick Foles, great guy, Christian, even though I like all religions. And so he's such a nice guy. If he found out that someone was beating up someone else for his honor or for you're not making any friends. He does not want you to do that.
Yeah. But people just like to fight.
Right,
Maybe it's all part of it.
Like we literally have drifted into sports instead of neighbors.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to neighbors. Helping your neighbor. Love thy neighbor. Oh yeah, Jesus said that, right? I said that already. But there's so many neighbor stories and helpful neighbor stories. One comes to mind, which isn't really strong on the neighbor part of it, but Jesus was talking about finding the one sheep who wandered away, which we've touched on that a few times, which is great because it shows how much he cares about us. But he was saying, would not a woman who lost a coin in her house, would she not light all the lamps and call in the neighbors and be like, can you help me find it? Like she wouldn't just be like, oh, well, I lost a coin. So he was just using it to talk about how you value something, you would look for something. But, it's that neighborly help. Like I talked about the snow blowing, you guys have raked leaves for our neighbors. And any kind of babysitter, helper, even just watch someone's house when they go on vacation. So, it gives you a chance. Like I said, would you like to live in the woods or on a cliff? Yeah. But, in life, you do want chances to be neighborly.
I think and that's sort of what I touched on earlier about this. Actual neighbors in your vicinity is a good example. Okay. Because guess what? I don't think it's too bad to have a bad neighbor. Okay. I'm gonna tell you why. You want me to tell you why?
Because
how else can you practice being a Christian?
Yeah, there you go.
So many things like
it has to be put into practice.
You can have the most racist, bigoted person in America.
Yeah.
Who's
just miserable,
homophobic, racist, maybe not so misogynistic to get my point across later. Okay. But he lives in a small town with 300 people. Okay. And he's a church-going man. Yeah. He tips the waitresses, nods his hat to the cashiers. You would think, oh, he's a great guy. He doesn't do anything wrong. Right. Until he goes to the town over, and then he sees he sees a gay guy, he sees someone who's a different color than him, and he starts spewing all this foulness. Right. That's when you're like, oh, whoa, you got some anger in your heart. So I think it's good to have. It's like one of these things where you really only show your true colors.
Oh, you're saying that man should love his neighbor.
I'm saying
he should love more than his neighbor.
No, yeah, I'm saying back to this neighbor. Yeah. Where you said it would be nice to live in a deserted island by yourself, and not have any neighbors. What I'm saying is
you're not stretching.
You're not stretching. Like that guy in his town, he was a great Christian. He didn't do anything wrong until he was pushed to be outside with people that are still his worldly neighbors, but weren't his physical neighbors that he knew and was like him.
Oh, you're right. But you know what? I think I just made that mistake. If you rewind this podcast, I wonder if I just showed my unchristianness. I said I would move. And isn't that the problem in a lot of neighborhoods? You don't like you don't like your neighbors, or if someone's too miserable, you say, let me get out of here. And then you're abandoning this mean person to the other neighbors. Like, so you remember I said that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it depends. Like, I'm not like, if you're literally getting,
well, if you're being targeted,
if you're getting eggs thrown at you every time you walk outside, then you can start weighing your options.
Yeah.
Just for your own peace of mind. But no, in general, I think if it's a feud, if you will, like, and you have, I think it's the same way with relationships. I'm going to compare it to a relationship.
Okay.
I think if you're over a marriage or something, I'm not against divorce or whatever, but I think it should be like, well, obviously if you're willing to, it's not like, how do I put this? Neighbors, spouses, don't say they treat me like this, I'm out of here.
Mm-hmm.
You put your best foot forward. You take the high road and you put effort in. You put effort into your neighbor.
Yeah.
You put effort into your husband or wife. If then still they're not like, and I'm not one of these things like, I tried.
Mm-hmm.
I said they can come play in my pool.
Right.
No, like if you genuinely put effort out, that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Like in anything, that's all you can do. And so do that. And if then it still doesn't work, then your peace of mind and your peace does have value.
Yes,
and
that's
so
true.
And so then it go.
You don't want to be in danger, if the person really is a violent person.
Or like I said, just your peace. Like, I think you should put effort out. Like it shouldn't be, it shouldn't just be like, oh, hopefully I have a good neighbor. It should be like, you want to be the best neighbor.
That's every podcast we talk about. If each person worried about being a good person, then we would all be good together.
Yeah, you be the best neighbor.
Yeah.
And then let someone not take it. Don't have these these standoffs with your neighbor where I don't know. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Because there's two things. One, if you're being targeted by one neighbor, if it's between you and one neighbor, and there's a real back and forth, that's a different problem. But if there's just a neighbor who is inconsiderate to the whole neighborhood, meaning, I don't know,
plays rock music real loud.
Oh, that rock music.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
AC/DC.
They keep pet skunks in the backyard.
Crocodiles,
skunks, the whole. They have a zoo. They have an unlicensed zoo. Like what's that guy's name that was so famous in the quarantine?
Tiger King.
Tiger King. No, talk about Christian. Not everybody can move. So, if you stayed, and then like the other people who couldn't leave, we talked about reviews, and he said one bad review. There's one bad review, but there's 50 good reviews. So if there's 49 good neighbors, and then there's the one guy with the skunk farm, the 49 can good outweigh bad?
Pitchforks, forks, and torches.
No, just having good around him, and you do get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. So coming at somebody in a nice, we don't hate you way. What's with the skunks? That's interesting, and not in a passive aggressive way.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, a lot of this is like the only way for it to work is with genuinity. To be genuine. Yeah. With that word, and you need. I think it's a practice in itself, is to truly try.
Yeah.
Try to do your best. Try to be inclusive with people.
Yeah.
Spread your arms and accept people with open arms.
With those open arms.
Open arms that you previously spread. Yeah, man.
Well, listen, we can't talk about neighbors without really talking about Fred Rogers. Won't you be my neighbor? Please, won't you be my neighbor? That's what he said.
I think you mean Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, Mr. Fred Rogers.
Don't talk about it too much. I want podcasts on him.
I believe
solely.
he introduced himself as Fred. Oh, you want to do a Fred Rogers podcast?
Yeah, I want to do a Fred
Absolutely.
Rogers
He
podcast.
deserves one. He sure.
I need to watch the movie first, though.
Okay.
I need to learn who he is first.
I lived it.
No, I watched a little bit.
Yeah, so he was
He's an OG. He's the man. I don't even want to get into it.
Okay, he was championing neighborship
from the get.
From the get,
from the rip. Dude was the man.
Yeah, because to say you're someone's neighbor, more than I accept you, or I encourage you to be you over there.
Yeah.
Neighbor is like, no, like I can smell your barbecue smoke. Like you're right there.
Yeah.
You're right with me.
And I think it's a big distinction. You know, it's like the, you saw it with the refugees. Maybe it was Syria. I don't know. Someone was refugees. And I don't want to get into logistics and economics of pros and cons.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about it from a spiritual perspective because that's the only way I can see it.
That's what we do.
That's the lens I have up.
Yeah.
But it was this, like, how much do you hear? Oh, let's donate money. How many commercials of like donate money, do all this, until you get people who've been ripped out of their homes knocking on your door.
Right.
Hey, my home is gone.
Right.
Can I stay? And it's like, I gave you guys 5 cents in the mail. Please just close my door and don't ever come back here. And it's one of those things, like, that is your neighbor, and that is the problem. We talked earlier about these borders. Yeah. And once again, I'm not saying there should be no borders and I should be the supreme ruler, unless you like that idea.
We're feeling that out. If you comment.
No, but on a spiritual, there shouldn't be borders on that, which there are. Mm-hmm. There are probably even more intensely than our physical borders. But it's that spiritual borders that are a problem, where it's like, oh, you're so charitable in America or in your town. Yeah. And then you're like, don't let people in our country. And it's like, the people in your town that you're having a what's it called, a little fun drive for, is
a car wash or something.
For the girls' soccer team. That's your charity. When these kids lost both their parents, their whole town's burnt down, and you're saying, well, can't someone else take them? Yeah, come on. Just love your neighbor, man. Yeah.
There's a old comic, George Carlin, and he used to do a whole routine, NIMBY. I think it was like, don't be a NIMBY, not in my backyard. And so he had a whole thing on that. And it's interesting. Different people in different places. You got your COVID test, and it was a county run clinic. And so it wasn't like a hospital or, a CVS. It was held in the parking lot of a church. Yeah. And when I saw it, I was like, wow, like, what do the neighbors think? Because the street to go down was very small, and the kind of street where you park on the street, you don't pull into your driveway. And it was very congested, and you had all these people, and I'm guessing all the time. I don't know how often the clinic was, but I thought, like, oh, not only are these neighbors having to endure the traffic congestion, but maybe also the fear that every day there's COVID, maybe, potentially COVID patients standing in line and breathing. But apparently it's, it's fine, but it's weird because, like, there's some places where that they would block that street off and say, not on my block. You're not bringing a halfway house. You're not bringing a COVID clinic. You're not bringing not on my street,
Not on my house.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? We're wrapping up to the end here, but just to get one last thing across, how many times have we said love the neighbor on this podcast?
I counted, and it's actually no. I didn't.
Probably
a lot in every one, maybe
in every episode. Yeah. I want to say here, it is a lot harder than it is said. Wait, it's a lot. It's not as easy as it sounds. Yeah. Which it's not as easy for anyone.
Well, it pops up more than you think. Yeah. It comes under the umbrella, and you're like,
well, that's what I'm saying. Okay. It's sort of like, it's just the golden rule of the treat others how you want to be treated, and it's like, it's easy to say, it's easy to understand why it's important, but it's hard, and it doesn't happen on its own. No. It doesn't just, oh, I pray every night, so naturally I'm going to start loving the neighbor more.
Right.
It comes with actual practice, and that's what being a human's about, is to learn, you know?
Yeah.
You're going to have neighbors that you're throwing eggs at each other, probably, you know, you learn from it, but the goal is to grow and to eventually realize that we are all
That's right.
doing the same thing, and it's always better in the long run to try to be the better neighbor.
Yeah.
And it's going to be tough. It's just like anything. It's like working out. It's like walking, getting, what is it when you move up in a career? Moving up in a job?
Advancing
In a job. It's just like learning how to become a veterinary technician.
Oh.
It doesn't happen.
They offer certificates in neighborship at the community college.
It doesn't happen on its own. You need to work every day, even if it's a little thing. And you're going to mess up sometimes. Mm-hmm. A vet is probably going to kill a dog or two.
Oh, the technician or the actual vet?
I don't know.
The technician, you need to fire that person. The vet, maybe he did all he could do.
Yeah, I wasn't a good comparison. Don't kill your neighbors.
But also, it's another dead dog comparison, which I'm telling
talked
to you about that earlier.
It's the biggest form of evil in my book. You know, if you're building, if you're a woodworker,
yeah,
you're probably gonna break a chair.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna try to be a good neighbor. You might throw a punch one time at your neighbor, but build from that and learn from it, and learn eventually. We're all neighbors on this earth. Everyone, you guys are my neighbors, all right? So I'll be coming over later asking for some butter.
No, but that's true, because
do you got some
you're
butter?
saying it in a way of like trying to check yourself and be like, I have to. But also, you know, there are going to be people who think like, I can't sit with you because that's the soccer team, or I can't sit with you because, you know, whatever. And that could be your thing to say, hey neighbor. And it's like, the person's like, oh, like I didn't think we had anything in common. When I was in Trinidad, I actually made friends with a Syrian girl, you mentioned Syria, who did not speak English.
How'd you make friends with her?
I just made friends with her.
What did you guys do?
We kind of mimed a lot. She had a baby in a stroller, and I had babies in a stroller. And every night we would walk this like the oval, this path around, like to walk the kids. Anyway, she was brought to Trinidad. She married a Syrian who was bilingual, but she wasn't. And yeah, she couldn't speak English, and I couldn't speak Syrian. But I furthered the friendship because, like, she probably thought, what the heck, like, you know,
because she was in an English speaking country.
Right, she was in an English speaking country, and I was like, oh, we're neighbors, you know, like, and yeah, did we have meaningful conversation? Yeah. No, but it was a friendly face in a foreign land for both of us. Yeah.
That's what it's all about. Mm-hmm. You know, you can find commonalities in everyone, right? Like that is a Syrian woman. You're an American woman, but you both had kids in a stroller, right? And you're both looking to walk, and that made you neighbors,
right?
And the more you guys look, the more you'll find that you can find something neighborly about everyone,
right?
And that's the name of the game. So we're gonna wrap this podcast up. It's good to be back, guys. It's good to be back. We're going to get into the 25 days of Christmas. Mm-hmm. I'm going to hopefully work on the van. See that? That was a fun first episode, wasn't it? It was
come on. It was great.
All right.
Watch it more than once, because
watch it 7 times.
You probably missed things when you watched
There's
it.
Easter egg in one of the scenes.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Love your neighbor.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to go to the camera now.
I know. We're a little bit...
Come over. All right, guys. Peace.